We are about to go live on YouTube, so just thank you for your patience. We are live. Great.
We are not, wait, we need to start recording.
There we go.
Okay. The recording has started.
Thank you so much. I just want to begin again for the record. This meeting is being held virtually via Teams and streamed live on YouTube due to the emergency declaration issued by Governor Hochul on Saturday, February 21st in relation to the blizzard. Now that we're back on after our technical difficulties, I will hand it over to our president, Deborah Martin, to begin the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreyoshi. And I want to begin the public hearing by thanking PDC staff for their work through the weekend, moving this from a live meeting to a Teams digital virtual platform, and for their ingenuity in troubleshooting it so that we can now consider Riverside Park's River Run Playground reconstruction. We will now begin the public hearing portion of the meeting with this item number 30316, preliminary review for the reconstruction of River Run Playground in Riverside Park located on Riverside Drive between West 81st Street and West 83rd Street in Manhattan. Per standard procedure, applicants will give their presentation, then public testimony will be heard, and then the commission will ask questions, deliberate, and vote. Presenters, you have about 10 minutes and you may proceed with the presentation. If you have trouble unmuting yourself, just use the raise hand feature. And then following that, we will hear public testimony, and then commissioners will use that same feature to give their comments. Parks, go right ahead, please. And welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. Margaret Bracken, the project manager for NYC Parks, and Abel Bainson Butts are here this morning to join the meeting to present the reconstruction of River Run Playground, which is located at West 82nd Street in Riverside Park. Available funding is partially mayoral funding, and the bulk of the funding is council funding from council member Gail Brewer. River Run Playground was installed in Riverside Park as part of the mid-1930s Moses era expansion of the park, and was extensively reconstructed, completely reconstructed in 1999, which provided the park with a wonderfully playful and extremely popular playground, with several unique and atypical, very popular elements that were part of that design in the 1990s. The design that you will see today has gone through a pretty extensive community input. Initially, we went to Community Board 7, and then we returned again. We reached out to the community to get extensive feedback from the local community, from CB7, and from the Riverside Park Conservancy to look at reincorporating these these wonderful features that were very much a component of the original, of the 1990s design of the playground. We've recently received approval from Landmarks Preservation Commission, and you'll find the advisory report in your package. And Terry Berger from Abel Bainson Butts will take you through the design.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Margaret. You could go to the next slide, please. So land use and adjacent land uses to the existing site are predominantly multifamily. Next, please. This photo shows the playground in its historical context, specifically in relation to the park's 1930s expansion. Next. Standard slide that shows that most of the additional amenities that are within the 5-minute walk radius actually occur within Riverside Park South. Next. Existing conditions. So Margaret already touched on a little bit of this in terms of when the park was originally constructed. The present playground conditions are primarily from a late 1990s capital reconstruction. There are some significant mature trees on the east and west of the site that provide a high canopy And of note during this reconstruction is the unique and community-loved custom sandbox designed by Jerry Linus, who's a local artist. Also, there is a public restroom building at the playground's north end that dates back to Moses era. Those two elements are being preserved as part of, in addition to the existing trees, are being preserved as part of the redesign. Predominant pavements throughout are asphalt, and there is a mix of play equipment that exists along with swings. Next slide. In general, the playground's dated, it's showing signs of age, and there are some significant effects as the result of the thriving, maturing trees, which is causing pavement lifting in numerous areas. And there are some, I guess I would say, minor localized drainage problems that are likely easy to remedy. They're probably from just the age of the infrastructure. Next. Existing trees are a mix of deciduous. Again, we are making every attempt to improve the health and condition and preserve them. Next. Okay, existing conditions photos. So on the left-hand side, you see the public restroom building. On the right-hand side are the existing steel gate, decorative gate, which will be remained and restored. Next. This shows the west side of the public restroom building, and sort of in the foreground there, you see the vehicular entrance. You also see that there is 8-foot-high chain link fence, and that is surrounding the perimeter. Right side is the eastern side of the playground perimeter, and you start to see in the background a little bit, there is this rock outcrop that protrudes under that fence, and you start to see off to the left of that, or the east of that, you can see there is a large rock outcrop. Next photo, please. Or next slide. There you can, oh, go back one, please. Sorry. There you can see on the left, you can see again that rock outcrop. Right side shows the existing swings. Next. This is the south end on the left, and you can start to see in the pavement the impacts of some tree roots there. On the right side is the sculptural sandbox, which is in amazingly good condition considering the age, and is still very well used and loved, as I said. Next. The existing water play feature, which is the old park standard. And then in the distance and on the right, you can start to see, well, the right side shows you sort of the southern terminus of the existing runnel. So that is presently drainage from the existing water feature. Next. So I just got a notice that says 5 minutes left in my meeting. That's not real, right? We're not going to get cut off, I assume. Existing conditions, heaving pavement, existing conditions of the trees, limited route. Go ahead, next, please. Play equipment, flagpole, next. You can see the existing play equipment, next. And this was the outcome from that existing, or the first community meeting we had. The community gave us some very clear priorities. Next. And here's our design. So the design is a complete playground renovation. The design is in keeping with the Riverside Park aesthetic, and it preserves or references many of the elements of the existing playground that are most cherished by the community. You can see the strong axial arrangement of the playground is maintained. with the water feature located along that main north-south axis. It connects the primary water spray pad area to the sandbox with the recreation of a runnel, and that provides opportunities along the length of the runnel for play. The extent of the playground is slightly altered to exclude the rock outcrop on the east. This was a decision made for safety. That in combination with the spatial requirements, the current spatial requirements for play equipment necessitated the elimination of the eastern path. However, because we recognize the importance of continuous circulation, there is still a loop and there is still room for active play. You just cannot get all the way to that eastern edge. Gathering space has been provided, both the east and west, with picnic areas. There's significant improvements made for the trees. We're giving them much more space. All new park lighting, 5 to 12, 2 to 5 play equipment. I think we can move on to the next slide. Existing fence diagram, we've got an 8-foot chain link fence that exists around, and then on the interior, 3.5 around the swings, steel picket, standard steel fence. Next. And then this is the new, we're bringing the fence heights down. This is going to be new Riverside Park standard steel fence, 3-foot high fence around the swings, which is a standard requirement, and then we're using some low wicket fence to help protect some planting areas where needed. Next. Swings, next. Play equipment for 2 to 5, which provides a lot of accessible play elements. Next. Next. And this is the equipment for the 5 to 12 year age range. I did want to note that both pieces of play equipment include specific elements that were requested by the community, including a focus on climbing activities, as well as seesaws for this. You can see the 2 seesaws there in the foreground and the background, which the community wanted. Next. Next. And then this is just the focus in terms of plan on that spray feature. So to the right side, we've got the main splash pad area, and then you can see the runnel, which connects that to basically the collection area. There's a variety of spray features. There's boulders around the north end that provide seating, and also it is a place where water features emanate from. And we've also retained salvage plaques that are going to go in that reference the Hudson Valley and are, I think you can see here in plan, we're embedding at both the spray pad to the north and the collection area at the south, embedding the names from the existing. Next. This just gives you a little close-up view of how that runnel's working. It's going to be precast pieces. There are 2 small pedestrian bridges that allow crossing east-west. Next. It's just a complete site section from north to south. You see the public restroom to the left. Next. Materials palette. So you can see there's the salvage plaques, and then there will be embossed or imprinted lettering in the concrete splash pad areas. Next. Standard palette of parks furnishings for Riverside Park with, Yes, the one non-standard addition is this precast concrete tot table and seats. So there's one area associated with the 2 to 5 where we're providing a separate area for that. Next. This shows you the fencing. So Riverside Park does have a typical fence that's got a slightly different top rail. We'll be using that. And then the one non-standard item here that we're introducing is a scooter rack, a toddler scooter rack. Next. Plant palette appropriate for the location and planted understory for the existing mature trees. Thought to maintenance, of course. Next. We are increasing the permeability within the site significantly. The site is large enough that we need to comply with SWIP, so we're working on that SWIP design right now. Next. And our renderings that give you a good overview. So you can see the 2 picnic areas, one in the background to the right, and then one in the background to the left associated with each of the play areas. I think you get a good sense of how the water play connects the spray pad to the sandbox, which is to remain. Next. The thing that's different about the water spray is that it's obviously been, we're bringing it up to be compliant with today's standards for water conservation and health standards, which the current spray shower is not. Next. Now this is a view standing on the west side, looking through under the tree canopy, and you can see the rock outcrop in the background. And next, I think that's our last slide. And we'll land on the final schematic plan here. I think I did note that the public restroom building is not included in the scope. However, there is a portion of the front, I'm going to call it the front terrace, that you can see it's sort of semicircular, and it's got 2 little appendages on it, which are sloped walks. That is currently not ADA compliant, so we are redoing that in just meeting its current form, but it will be compliant, so it will get you up to the main terrace or vestibule of the public restroom building. And I think that's it. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Prior to that, I will call for testimony. Chelsea, do we have anybody signed up for remote testimony?
Hi, yes, we do have Megan Fitzpatrick signed up for remote testimony. Megan, if you don't mind raising your hand, I will allow you to speak. If you could please start with your name, affiliation, and plan to keep your testimony to under 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, Commissioners. Megan Fitzpatrick speaking on behalf of Landmark West. Our Certificate of Appropriateness Committee would like to commend the design team and the Parks Department for the continued investment in updating and maintaining playgrounds across the city, and for addressing landscape permeability issues that are essential to protecting both the playground infrastructure and the park's long-term daily use. We especially appreciate the team's responsiveness to community feedback and the decision to retain the unique River Run feature that gives the park its name and serves as an important element of neighbourhood identity and memory. While we are supportive of the proposal overall, we wish the project scope could be more comprehensive. In particular, we encourage the consideration of much needed updates and restoration work for the playground restroom in tandem with this renovation so that the space is not offline again in the near future. We would also appreciate the clarification on 2 items in the presentation materials. First, on slide 20 at the northeastern entrance, the proposal appears to show both a restored gate and an existing gate overlapping inward at the same location. It is unclear whether the existing gate will remain, be replaced, or be modified, and we ask this condition be clarified. Second, the sandbox designed by local artist Gerald Linus is a beloved and distinctive feature of the playground. From the presentation, it is not clear whether the sandbox is to be retained, but I understand from this presentation it is. Still, we would like to understand whether conservation measures are being proposed, particularly given the drainage issues illustrated on slide 7. If addressing drainage is a central goal of this project, we ask how Parks intends to resolve these conditions while preserving the integrity of this important artistic element. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Chelsea, are there others signed up for testimony?
There's no one else signed up for remote testimony.
Great. So now, commissioners, over to you for questions. Oh, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
I do see a hand raised. So 646-872, just to make sure, are you signed up for remote testimony? Chelsea, could we unmute that?
Yes, we will unmute. Again, if you could please begin by stating your name and affiliation and plan to keep your testimony to under 3 minutes. You should be allowed to speak now.
Hello, my name is Jerry Linus, and I'm the sculptor who built the sand pit. I don't know if you can hear me, but I hope
Yes, we
so.
can hear.
Thank you. I have one question. I also want to commend the group for what appears to be a very sensitive renovation of a beautiful playground where all of my children grew up and where I've gone many, many times to enjoy watching children playing in my sculpture. I do have one question regarding the bridges which cross the runnel. They seem, number one, unnecessary because children really enjoy jumping across the river. And number two, I think they present a hazard in that children's toys which float down the river will be caught under the bridges, which apparently don't arch very tall, and therefore it would cause blockage with the toys accumulating at the bridge sites and then causing overflow as the water accumulates and jumps the banks of the river. So I find them unnecessary and probably would reduce the cost somewhat of producing them. So that's my only comment at the moment.
Thank you very much. We will take all the feedback together, testimony together, and then invite Parks to respond. Chelsea, anyone else with their hand raised? I just want to make sure we don't miss anyone.
Yes, if anyone else within the Teams room is here to testify, please use the raise hand feature. I do not see any additional hands, so we are okay to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Deborah.
Okay, so before I ask commissioners to give their questions or comments, I want to address Ms. Fitzpatrick's questions from Landmark West and then the sculptors, which I want to say I'm very happy that you are in this meeting regarding the bridges. So let's start with the question, and I would ask either Margaret or Terry to take these questions. Can we start with the question about the gates?
Yes, the gates are a very significant feature of the original Moses era design of the playground. So yes, we do plan to retain those. They will be removed, refinished, and reinstalled with some attention given to the hinges and everything because there is some deterioration in the existing metal. And then we plan to also do similar to what we have at the moment, which is have, a more functional 4-foot high gate, you know, for sort of easy access in and out of the playground. Regarding the sandbox, we're proceeding with extreme caution around this wonderful feature. We have coordinated this with Jerry, whom you just heard from, and we've talked a lot on site. We know this is a really significant and much loved feature of the playground, so we plan to protect it on site. I mean, looking at any drainage issues, you know, it's 35 years old now. So we plan to remove all of the existing sand, and we'll reconfigure the existing drainage in the sandbox with extreme caution, and we will then protect it on site. So it will be retained and it will be improved, but, you know, with extreme care. And to go to Jerry's question about the bridges, we actually thought that that was kind of added another dimension to the play in the playground, because we felt it was a little bit of, you know, a kind of fun element to allow kids to basically, you know, float things down this runnel. We haven't sort of fully worked out the detailing of it yet in terms of the elevation, and maybe Terry can speak to that. But I think in this particular playground, we have what in parks terminology we call a fixed post parks employee. So there's somebody on the playground all the time. So in terms of blockages and everything, they'll be able to sort of do regular maintenance on the runnel to make sure that we don't have any of these you know, dam conditions. Terry, do you want to kind of speak to the clearance?
Sure. Jerry, it's a good point. It's really going to depend on how much clearance we can get there. We are still working this out a little bit. You know, it's very important that we have the proper flow, and we're working on that as well right now. So I completely understand your comment, and it's a good one. So I think as we move forward, we will definitely address that.
I see another raised hand, but I'm not sure. Is that testimony or what is that? It's Mr. Hinkle.
I believe they're from Parks.
Oh,
Ricardo, do you have a quick comment to add to what Margaret and Terry have already said?
Yes, I just wanted to specify that the drainage improvements under the sandbox will include a perforated pipe under drain, so that any water accumulation will be taken up by the perforated pipe. And so it'll be better drained than it currently is. It does not have an under drain now. Thank you.
okay. Thank you. So moving on now to commissioners' questions and comments. Commissioners, please use the raised hand feature. And I see Commissioner Castilla, Isabel Castilla, do you have a question or comment?
Yes, thank you, Deborah, and thank you, team, for the presentation. I am also very excited about the renovation of this playground. I think it's going to be a great space. I have a question and then a couple of comments. So I'll start with my question. I just want to make sure I understand correctly what you're doing around the rock outcrop. Are you pushing the fence forward or outboard of the rock so it doesn't need to climb the rock as it does today, which is a little bit messy looking?
That's correct.
So that 4-foot fence will remain plumb against the playground surface, the swing surface?
Right, and the rock outcrop will be fully outboard of it, separated from it.
Okay, great.
It always created challenges having it in the interior of the playground, because obviously that bedrock extends a little bit into the playground as well. So it seemed better, and it is a play element in its own sort of, you know, so we felt it was okay to leave the entire structure outside the playground and then, you know, not deal with the ramifications of having a small portion of it within the footprint of the playground.
Makes sense. And then I understand also you're planting around it. What kind of planting are you proposing for that specific area?
So at the base, we were anticipating just doing some kind of native grass type thing, because the children do play on it and play back there. So I think it's got to be something that is going to withstand a little bit of foot traffic on occasion.
But it's, sorry, I understood it was close from access. So which portion?
No,
you
not,
anticipate?
I'm sorry, not access from within the playground,
Uh-huh.
but you can access it from the, from Riverside Park, from the east side,
Okay.
right? You can still access it.
Yeah, this is a large area of bedrock that the children clamber on all the time, so we have to assume they're going to be, up and down.
Okay, great. Okay, I understand that now. Okay. So then for my comments, and these were comments that were issued prior, I thought it would be good to have a conversation about it. We understand you had to eliminate the perimeter circulation around the playground because of trying to mitigate the area around the rock, which makes perfect sense. You're also trying to maximize play features and respond to all of the setbacks, which also makes a lot of sense. However, I feel a little bit on this image here that the remnant perimeter circulation behind the play area feels a little bit out of sorts with the rest of the playground because there aren't any amenities directly facing it once you turn the corner behind the planting bed. In contrast with the current layout where there are some benches along the edge, here this feels a little bit like a bit of a remnant from the previous layout. I know you responded that you may need this for maintenance access. So I just thought it would be helpful to speak a little more about that to understand what is driving this layout. And are there any other opportunities to face amenities towards that path if the path is absolutely necessary? So it serves a dual purpose, both maintenance access, but also an amenity in itself.
Yeah, the maintenance is primarily are bringing sand into the sandbox because the double gated entrance is in that kind of western corner there. So we will need to be able to bring pickup trucks on a fairly regular basis. We empty and replenish the sandboxes on a regular basis. So that was really one of the main reasons for retaining the reasons for retaining that area because of the runnel, there's limited circulation in the center. So I think that was number one. And then also, I mean, we can look at, I don't know if you have any thoughts there, Terry, in terms of spacing to put additional benches along that area, because there are actually currently benches that families do sit in, and it's a sort of shadier area that abuts a kind of,
To add a bench along that edge would really restrict us.
I think to add to what Terry says about, the scooters, but even beyond that, there are quite a lot of bigger kids, because this is adjacent to the big kids play area. I mean, we did hear at the community input meeting that the users wanted to have some kind of open runaround space. So I think there is still some value in having that, that kind of unprogrammed area where bigger kids can kind of do laps and get a little bit more physical.
Yeah, I could completely see that. And I agree, not everything needs to be hyper-programmed or designed. It just feels to me that the overall playground layout is giving its back to that area and recognizing that there might be a lot of flow of kids, couple of ideas. Maybe there could be some backless benches that are placed along the edge of the play area where the seesaw is, perhaps just to at least have some recognition of that space. Or even, these are just ideas, take them or leave them, some painted games or something that actually recognize this area as being part of the playground as opposed to a back of house path, just so that it feels integrated. So just consider that. The last comment I had, and if we can stay on this image, is the tree on the lower left in that round planting bed. When we look at it doesn't quite show up as much on this rendering, but when we look at the plan, the amount of impervious space around that tree seems to be quite large. So I'm just wondering if there's also opportunities to consider enlarging that planting bed just to give a little bit more greenery and minimize the amount of asphalt. Just in that particular location, it seems like quite a lot compared to the rest of the calibration of the site.
Which planting bed? I'm sorry, Isabel, can you say again?
Top right, yes, where the cursor is.
Okay. So
yeah.
It's the north west corner, that round planting bed.
Yeah, it just feels like it could enlarge a little bit and minimize the amount of asphalt between that planting bed and say the water play area and the bathrooms.
I understand what you're saying. It was left more open again, just for this sort of unprogrammed space for the older children. I mean, the way they currently use the space, it's a little funny. They use this this corner on the west side of the building a lot for ball play. So that was the thinking there, in conjunction with the vehicular circulation that's needed. You know, it's again very tight to get this vehicle in and out, but your point is well taken. I understand what you're saying, and we can certainly look at expanding it slightly.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional thoughts there as well? Or that's okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And commissioners, any other questions or comments? Okay, so I'm going to summarize by start by just noting that Commissioner Casilla has asked you to look at enlarging or kind of reshaping to some extent the that planting bed on the top right. So we request you do that when you come back again, and also take a look at that perimeter path. If there's some way that you can activate it through benches or program it otherwise, while still obviously maintaining your need for trucks to bring in the sand or what other maintenance needs you have for that path. In conclusion, I want to say this is a beautiful and really thoughtful restoration, and we very much appreciate the work that you did to maintain the kind of historic delight that has connected with generations of kids in this neighborhood, while updating it for current standards of safety and needs, as the artist who created the sandbox has remarked earlier. So we really appreciate that work. And so now I'm asking other commissioners if someone will make a motion for the project.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. And is there a second? And the motion is to move forward with a vote for preliminary approval. Is that correct, Commissioner Hawkinson?
Yes, thanks, Deborah.
Okay, and who has seconded that vote?
Bill Heinzen.
Bill Heinzen seconds. So I will now take a roll call vote on item number 30316, preliminary review for the reconstruction of River Run Playground in Riverside Park, located on Riverside Drive between West 81st Street and West 83rd Street in Manhattan. Commissioners, when I call your name, please unmute and verbally state your vote. Commissioner Kenseth Armstead.
Approved.
Isabel Castilla.
Approve.
Laurie Hawkinson.
Approved.
Bill Heinzen.
Approved.
Karen Keel. Commissioner, I'm not seeing
Karen
Commissioner
had to
Keel.
step off. Sorry.
Okay, she's not present, but we still have a quorum. Carrie Maloney.
Approved.
Manuel Miranda.
Approved.
Meryl Tisch. Seems Commissioner Tisch has stepped away, but again, we still have a quorum, and Commissioner Jimmy Van Bramer.
Approved.
I also vote to approve, so let the record show all are in favor and the project is approved at the preliminary level. Congratulations. We very much look forward to seeing your final presentation. This concludes our meeting and the public meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.